Alrighty, here we go with one more lesson for the week. This is one that you guys are going to catch on to really quickly. Just stick with me, it'll start to make sense. It looks complicated, but it's really not. It's a way of breaking down division into place value sections that makes it a little bit easier to understand. So we're going to go ahead and be drawing some stuff today. So I've got us lots of room here so we can do that. So the distributive property basically breaks it up into place value spots, like I said. So instead of having one big dividend that you're dividing from, you're breaking it up into smaller pieces to make it easier. So we're going to start with our first problem. Jessie has 369 beads to be split evenly among 3 necklaces. How many beads can Jessie put on each necklace? So our original problem takes the 369 beads, that's how many he has, and divides it by 3, because there are 3 necklaces. So the first thing they're going to do is they're going to break down this number into its place value spots. So where it says number 1 there, they want you to take 369 and they want you to make it into its place value spots. So we have 300 plus 60 plus 9, right? Because there's a 3 in the hundreds place, a 6 in the tens place, and a 9 in the ones place. If you think back to when we were working on our ways to write numbers in the beginning, okay? The second part of this problem, and they have drawn that out in a little box for you, which your little box looks like this. You have 300 here, because that's the largest piece. You have 60 here, and you have 9 there. So that's your whole number. So what you're going to do next is you're going to take each section and you're going to divide it by this 3. So instead of taking the whole number and dividing by 3, we're going to take this part and divide it by 3. Then this part and divide by 3, and so on. So you're going to be taking that and doing that. So the first step is over here. I'm just going to write this out so I have it that's clear. 60 divided by 3 and 9 divided by 3. And the picture of that looks just like this. It takes your original boxes. This is your 300, this is your 60, and this is your 9. And what it's doing is it's dividing all of those by 3. So when we take a look at this, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take this 300 and we're going to divide it by 3. Most of you guys will be able to think about this and be able to do it mentally. If you have 300s and you're breaking them up into 3 places, your answer is 100. If you have 60 and you divide it by 3, I should put our answer up here. Hold on. Okay, if you have 60 and you divide it by 3, well, 3 fits into 6 2 times, 3 fits into 0 0 times, 3 times 20 is 60. So 20 is going to be that part. And then the last part, 9 divided by 3, that would be 3. So you have successfully divided this number by its place value spots. What you do to find the answer is you add these quotients. So that was step number 3 on your paper. Step number 3 was to take these pieces that you just made right here and add them together. So we have 100 plus 20 plus 3. And that equals 123. So 369 divided by 3 is equal to 123. All right? So he can put 123 beads on each necklace. Now, the last step on this page asks us to check that problem to make sure that we did it correctly. So if we're taking a look at this part right here, we can again think about it like a fact family. We know that there are 4 problems we can write with it. This dividend is going to be the top piece, the largest piece. And we know that these side pieces, the divisor and the quotient, become the sides of the triangle. So if we want to check our problem and make sure we did it correctly, this division problem, we're going to do a multiplication problem. So we're going to multiply 123 times 3 and see what we get. We should get our dividend, right? So come over here on the side if you need to. 123 times 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3. Lucky for us, You'll notice here that our numbers check out. So we know that we do have the correct answer for that problem. Let me go ahead and flip over to the back side. And I'm going to guess we have to practice this a few more times. This is another strategy, same kind of thing, but looks a little different. All right. So the first one we saw had the boxes, and that was the partial products, right? This one is going to be the partial quotients. So I want you to know with both of these methods that these are just strategies that we're learning, and like any other time, you're going to find the one that works the best for you and stick with it. So be patient with me. Let's run through one more example of the boxes first, and then we'll do a couple of examples like this, okay? So let's say we have 124 divided by 4. Okay, if we're going to try and use our partial distributive property, like we did on the front, we're going to be taking 124 and we're going to split it up into its parts. So, place value parts, right? So we're thinking about 124. That is equal to 100 plus 20 plus 4, right? We're going to take that and put it into our boxes. 100 plus 20 plus 4. All I'm doing is breaking down that number, and I'm going to divide it by 4. So we're going to be saying, how many times will 4 fit into 100? Well, that happens to be 25. If you think about money, that helps you remember. How many times will 4 fit into 20? That would be 4 times, because 5 times 4 is 20. So I should put a 5 in there, not a 4. And last but not least, how many 4s fit into 4? 1. So if we use this distributive property and partial products, we're going to add those pieces together. So 25 plus 5 plus 1. So that would be 31. So we could check that. So we're basically saying that 124 divided by 4 is equal to 31. We can check this by multiplying. We can do 31 times 4. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. And you'll see that our dividends match up. Now, here is a second way to solve these problems. It's on the back of the paper. So we have 738 students in Manuel's school. There are 6 grade levels in his school, each grade having the same number of students. How many students are in the 5th grade? So back to our original problem. We know how many students we have all together. That would be 738. We know that there are 6 classrooms, so we're going to need to divide by 6 to get this answer. Okay? So we are going to be setting it up like a regular division problem. 738 divided by 6. Now, what I want you to be thinking about is those multiples of 6, okay? This looks funny and it's going to feel a little funny because you guys know how to do division like this. You could just solve that problem, no problem. But I want to show you the strategy just in case. So I'm thinking about multiples of 6, and I'm asking myself to think about this in the place value spots. Remember, this is like 738. So I'm looking at 700, and I'm trying to think, how close can I get 6 times something close to 700 without going over? Well, I know that 6 times 100 is going to be 600. That would be something I can use, and that's what they've used here in the book. So they've done 600. That one, not very juicy. Let me get a juicy one. They're taking out parts of this a little bit at a time. So bear with me here. They have decided that they're going to try and use 600. So 6 times what is 600? That's where this little line comes in over here. That would be 100, right? 6 times 100 is 600. Then they're going to subtract. They're going to see what they have left. So when we do that subtraction, we get 138. Now we're going to be asking ourselves again, this was hundreds. How many hundreds? Now I'm going to be thinking, how many tens? 6 times how many tens? would get me close? Well, I could do 6 times 20. 6 times 20 would be 120, and that's what the book does, and it subtracts again. So this is the hundreds, this is the tens, this is going to be the ones. 6 times what is 18? Well, that's 3. And when I do that, I have used up all of my dividend here, and I can add this direction to get my answer. So I am more concerned with you filling in these little blanks on the side with this information than I am with this side. So don't stress too much about filling in these little bits and pieces. I just want you to see this for the first time. I know that this one's a little bit confusing because you know how to do division the right way. I just want you to see it for now. We're not going to focus on this a whole lot. I just want you to see it, okay? I want you to be able to see that this is the hundreds, this is the tens, and this is the ones. And you can take out pieces to solve that problem. Let's see. If we're going to check that, we would do, remember this is equal to 123 because we just added them together. We could do 123 times 6, and we can figure out where we are from there. That would be 738. And here we are again with our stuff checking out. So don't focus too much on this, but give it a try. At least get those pieces filled in, okay? You can use whichever method you want to for this. If you're having a really difficult time with either one of these and it's frustrating you, I don't want it to be. Take a step back. If this doesn't make sense and if the boxes don't make sense, stop. It's okay. Take a break. Go back to something you know. Maybe you're more comfortable with doing regular old division. You can do that. We could do 738 divided by 6. We know how to do that. How many 6s fit into 7? 1. 6 times 1 is 6. Bring down the next number. 6 goes into 13 2 times. 6 times 2 is 12. Bring down your next number. How many times does 6 go into 18? 3 times, which is 18. And you're going to get the same exact answer. Like I said, trying out new strategies is a good thing sometimes, but if you're finding it really frustrating, it's okay to step back from it, okay? If you need help, mvaw123@gmail.com. We'll talk to you soon.